some of the life cycle stuff on these drones, as little as 2 weeks before countermeasures was developed. So we pushed hard on drone mitigation. We got some money. We launched the FBI's first drone threat training center at Redstone down in Alabama. You see right there in just the news, there's a grand conspiracy probe going on weaponization, opening doors for special prosecutor. Tell about all passes and first part of process. Kind of got lost in the Kensington drug market in Philly. We ripped that up, had to do a Philly off the snare, tore that thing to pieces. Man, that thing was going on forever, so your Philly listeners know the deal there. So I was committed early on getting into it there. The Comey case you obviously know about. Listen, Judge, that just, that case was ours. Operation Chalkline was one out of Milwaukee with gang boss. Shifted ages to the immigration crackdown, pursuant to President Trump's leadership on that issue. Got to basically 0 illegal migrants admitted into the country over multiple months. Yeah, this is just the past year. Cash reassigned 1,500 employees outside of D.C., basically getting a lot of people out of headquarters and back into the field to go get bad guys, violent criminals off the streets. And a little patient going on. The Antifa cell members in the Prairie Land shooting, we indicted and locked up. I think there were 19 of them or something like that. That was another, so much happened. I know a lot of this gets lost, but that was another tragedy. I remember sitting in the office with that. 764, be careful what you kids are doing online. It's this really violent group that exploits kids. We have been resolutely targeted on locking them up through Operation Restoring Justice and others with that. The New Orleans mayor, LaToya Cantrell, so we had a lot of public corruption cases going on. Gavin Newsom, former chief of staff, indicted. We had, of course, the 6 most wanted out of the 10, 4 while I was there, so I can take credit for the last 2. Ryan Redding and the other cash flow back. So we had former aide to the New York governor charged, being an agent of the Chinese government. The historic crime crackdown. We had homicide rate, the lowest in U.S. history. The percentage dropped. Helped grab Maduro with our amazing Secretary of War. Of course, everybody at the New York Times and all of them are upset. We had 5 eyes. Of course, the pipe bomb suspect. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. You just pointed out John Bolton. Oh, wait, hold on. The FBI dismantles the lead public corruption squad. The New York Times and Washington Post can't figure out if we've done too much or too little. Unease at FBI, testified as Patel, House top official. And meanwhile, you had that D-bag, Aaron Blake. Do you believe this guy? Did you miss your own coverage on this? You complete loser? All right, enough of that. But Peter Schweizer, who is an amazing author, he has a book out now. He put up a tweet at the time because I guess like me, he's a data guy. I'm a data guy. I believe in numbers just like the president. Results matter.
Man, and he put out this tweet, which I thought was pretty cool, and I appreciate it. He said, listen, critiques of the FBI are longstanding and justifiably so, right? Have been made for many decades, but when it comes to granular data on crime fighting, current FBI's numbers speak for themselves.
Top Doctor recommends 1 sip of this tropical drink to eliminate herpes outbreaks almost overnight.
Guess what? Elon Musk is at it again. PayPal, don't forget, he sold that for $1.5 billion.
Thank you enough. Good cases and good police work takes time. Listen, I wish it didn't, but good cases, good police work, and personnel changes take time. You can do all these things the wrong way or you can do them the right way. But the right way to do them is never going to be the quick way. I used to say to everyone at the Bureau, you know, fast is smooth, smooth is fast. But good cases take time. We are not the War Department. We can't just give an order
and have something enacted immediately. There's a process. There are United States attorneys you have to work with. The Justice Department, when I was there, was dealing with a lot of U.S. attorneys who were legacy Biden, even Obama holdovers who just didn't want to do their job. So AG Bondi gave him the boot and said, get out. And, you know, Todd and them from the DAG, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, they said, you got to go. You don't want to do your job, get out of here. So you're dealing with process. You're dealing with some judges who are not, hurt us in a lot of these cases as well. It's not an excuse for anything. It's just an explanation. So the supporters who understood that this stuff takes time and judged us on the record, I really appreciate that. You guys and ladies have been with me from the beginning. I read a lot of your stuff, and I owe you huge, man. I really appreciate me, going in there and having that bedrock of support on the outside. I used to say on the show before I left, everything in this business, in the opinion business, is sound bites and snapshots. It's headlines and sound bites. That's all it is. That's what people remember. Clipping is the way a lot of people get recognition online. A lot of people watch the whole show. Some people don't. Sound bites and snapshots matter. It's the exact opposite in federal law enforcement. It is not sound bites and snapshots. It is a very slow, methodical process. Getting subpoenas, doing the work, doing the investigative work, getting the data aggregated to make a case that can pass judicial muster and that probable cause hurdle. So it's the exact opposite. So big thank you to our supporters. Love you guys. You're the best. That's the first group of people and the best of this lot. Second, to the libs and their media pals, liberals out there, well, you guys, you've always hated me. The feeling's probably mutual. I don't like you guys either. I would like to think when I went in there, I had an open mind. I didn't go in there with any partisan intent. And the people we arrested, where we crushed the crime rate in largely liberal cities, we didn't do it to score political points. No one's voting for anyone I support in these liberal cities anyway. We did it because the job matters. So liberals and their media pals, you can get your lips and just pucker them up and plant a big wet one on my ass because you guys would just rather see people dead. What are you laughing at, Jim? Is the show we're not even like 40 minutes in. Jim's already like, I miss this guy. It's been a long time. Yeah, you can pucker up, okay? I'd show it to you, but no one wants to see that on the live. We may crash the live stream again. This may be what the DDoS attack was all about, to prevent me from trying. But you guys would rather see people dead. I'm going to talk to President Trump about this in about a little less than an hour when he comes on the show. But it's incredible at the homicide rate. Jim, what happens in a homicide? What happens to people? Somebody dies. They're freaking dead. It's amazing. Like, a lot of people aren't dead because the homicide rate's the lowest it's been in modern U.S. history, not exclusively because of the work we did, but largely because of the work we did at the direction of the president, expanding the use of UFAP warrants, Vicar cases, RICO cases, gang members who shoot people we want locked up. I just showed you the montage, chalk line, the Kensington drug market, all this stuff, the illegal immigration push, Title 8 violent criminals, using Title 8, to get them out of the country. And then the liberals are complaining. I don't know. What the hell happened? How did this happen? Gee, I don't know, dipshits. How did it happen? When 0.5% of the population commits 50 to 70% of the violent crime, and most of them have been arrested between 8 and 12 times before. That's what the data shows. And Jim, stunner. When you go out and you lock these violent animals up, they can't kill people because they're in jail. Well, they could kill people in jail, but not on the street.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
You can live a very long time with.
Big retailers don't want you to have this zoom lens, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So there's this new
crime rate, violent crime rate, homicide rate plunged by 20%. What the hell? And the media, totally divorced from reality. These people would rather see you dead than for a second acknowledge that this FBI, I'm not talking about the prior ones, that these people, that we had anything to do with it at all. They don't give a shit. All they want to do is write their damn headline. We don't know what happened. Must have been a statistical anomaly. Yeah, sure, dipshits. Keep it going. So we're so back, are we? Already? I can tell. I am so in a mood today. You have no idea. This is like bottled up, pent up energy for the past year.
So supporters, libs, and their media pals, we don't like each other. Keep writing your stories. I'm sure you'll have a story about tomorrow. You always do. You already wrote the headline. I can already see it. So good for you. Knock yourselves out. I know we're good clickbait for you, but as long as you show up, it's all that matters to me.
The third group of people I want to address are the grifters out there who mistakenly thought I wasn't coming back. Now, I am back. The Podfather is back, and I'm here to take back this movement. This movement's been hijacked by a small group of dipshits and bums and losers who are nothing but doomers under the frame of accountability. I'm all about accountability. I just showed you what we did or what we didn't. Did I not? I'm not sitting here going, hey, trust me, bro. I showed you. If you like it, great. If you don't, that is absolutely your constitutional right. You paid for it to go out and go, that sucked. I would have done something different. Okay, but you didn't. You didn't do anything different. I'm not sure if you volunteered to serve or not, but you didn't. You sat in the front row with your popcorn, ankle biting, throwing this popcorn at the ring at two guys in there sparring away, fighting for this country while you did shit. You just talked about it. So you didn't do anything. Now, I'm back on the air. I'm not going to take on every single thing in one day in one show. But I'm telling you right now, your bullshit, I'm done with it. The grifter bums, all you guys are a class of doomers. Everything sucks all the time. You would have done it different. You didn't do shit. You did nothing. You didn't volunteer. You didn't ask. You didn't give up your show to do. You did nothing. All you did was bullshit people and say, nothing's happening. And then when we tell you, oh, it just happened, you move on to something else you say is not going to happen. And then when that happens, you move on to something else. Totally full of shit. Thank you. There's some numbers. This was from an Epic Times here. Nothing's happening. 35% increase in espionage arrests. That's not nothing. You don't have to like it, but it's not nothing, okay? 78% increase in China-related espionage arrests. Again, not nothing. 112% increase in agent applications, 20% drop in a nationwide murder rate. Again, you don't have to like it. You could say, I would have done 21. Yeah, but you didn't. What's that? Guy, thank you, Guy. Guy's like, I don't like murders. I'm all for this. Me either. 20% increase in FBI arrests related to 764 child exploitation network. 640 individuals disrupted from conducting terror attacks. You don't have to like it, bro. You don't have to like any of it. But don't say it's nothing. A lot of people put a lot of hard work into it, from this administration at the top on down. You want to critique it, say you would have done better, step up. Step up. Go ahead. They got openings. You go try it. See what you're dealing with. The last group of people I want to address here is the leakers. Listen, when we got into the FBI, Cash and I,
we found there were two FBIs. I think Nicole Parker actually has an interesting book about this. She was an agent a while back. And Nicole Parker had an interesting take on this, two FBIs. And she's not wrong. There was a completely weaponized portion of the FBI that just could not get their heads out of their asses. They could not get out of this old model of like political targeting first, law enforcement second. And then there was another group of people, door kickers, agents out in Omaha and elsewhere who they didn't have anything to do with any of this shit. Matter of fact, if you were doing an inspection, you read some of their emails, a lot of them were pissed off about this whole thing. These were the guys going out there, locking up these VCAT case offenders, violent crimes against children, locking up white collar folks, locking up, using UFAP warrants to go get violent, it's unlawful flight against prosecution. To use these warrants to go get bad guys off the street. The problem was finding out who was part of each group. We were outsiders, both Cash and I. That's not a mystery. We were outsiders. The benefit to being outsiders is we had a fresh set of eyeballs when it came to things like Doge and everything else and work. I saw Elon yesterday at Dan Scavino's wedding. I thanked him for it. We had a Doge guy over there as well. We came in there with a fresh set of eyes, and that was great. But folks, there was a downside. The downside was we did not know every single player in the business and who was what. No one advertises, hey, I'm part of the weaponized old FBI. So we had to figure that out. Not an excuse. Just an explanation. That's all. I worked for you, and you deserve to hear what happened. So this fourth group of people, the leakers in the Bureau, some who've left, some who are likely fired, and others, You guys destroyed the place, and you tried to destroy us too. But I bet you thought I'd never be back either. So now, when you leak with your little tiny voice in the New York Times and your 10 or 15 views, we have millions of people. This show is so big, they tried to take us offline just 15, 20 minutes ago. It's the biggest live stream in the world and one of the biggest conservative podcasts in the entire world. Now we're back. And now we get to fight back. Because I'm not going to let you bullshit people anymore about what was going on. Upset about everything. Some of the stuff that came out about social media. These guys were hilarious. These guys were absolutely hilarious. Social media is how people consume content. Walter Cronkite and Brokaw aren't around on the air anymore. They were like, man, Dan and Cash, they were really concerned about getting information about social media. No shit, Sherlock Holmes. We've got someone wanted for a crime. You think it may be a good idea to put out on social media? Hey, we're looking for this person. They'd be like, these guys are using social media. Yeah, we are. That's why the prior operation kept sucking and why 80% of people didn't trust the weaponized idiots who were running the place before. Of course we were going to use it to tell the taxpayer, here's what's going on. Here's what we needed. They deserve transparency. Why was this a shocker? But I'm back now. And you can go fuck yourself. What are you laughing at? I'm serious. Let me say it again. Go fuck yourself. We had to clean up your mess, and you hated every second of it. And to the good guys doing their job, God bless you, man. Thank you. There are people alive right now because you weren't kicked in a door and got some shithead off the street and put him in jail or deported him out of the country. But yeah, that fourth class of goons, keep it up, man. Now we're back. Now we get to tell the real story of why you tried to stop us every step of the way. As we clean the mess up you left for this president. The absolute mess. Now, I figured no good to address those four groups of people, especially group two, libs and their media pals, who again would rather see you dead. They would rather write a story about the homicide rate being up. Oh my God, they don't care if people die. They don't care at all. This is how they work. I've seen it now from the inside. I had been in government before, my past with the Secret Service and at the local level with the NYPD, obviously. But now at that level, it was completely and a total eye-opener, like Clockwork Orange eye-opener, how the media does these things from the other side. Because over the past year, I had to stay relatively quiet on social media outside of, the FBI account because it's not about me. When you're in the government, you work for the president, the taxpayer, the administration. It's not about you. You're not there to, promote your own stuff anymore. You're there to work for this administration and get the job done. So I had to stay relatively quiet. So the media knew that. So every day they would write some kind of bullshit piece. And I saw how they did this. So I'm going to go through this kind of three-step process. And once you see this, you'll never unsee it. This is how they work. So first, I even wrote this down. I should auction off for charity the first show day, shouldn't I? We should do some Wounded Warrior charity. Wouldn't that be cool? Someone want that? Would you guys bid on that? Totally for charity. That would be great. Maybe I'll do that. Rip the pages out. And you'll see how I write this stuff down. You got to write. Typing's no good. All right, back on track. How swamp insiders and media goons develop the narrative or the story du jour they want out there. Is the story true? Never. Doesn't matter. They keep going anyway. Step one. Find some anonymous, not anonymous to them, but to you, disgruntled swamp rat to pitch your bullshit story to. They're like, wait, is it supposed to work the other way? Hey, Guy, right? Like disgruntled insiders go to the meeting and go, I'm a whistleblower. I've got some, right? That's how it's supposed to work, correct? But that's not how it works. Now, what? No, that's not how it works at all. Media people already have a story written. Story is like, Dan Bongino, man, he cut himself with a razor. He's got to learn to shave better. That's their story. Whether I cut myself with a razor or not is totally irrelevant. There could be no blood on the face. They just want to make you look like your physical skills are waning or something. He keeps cutting himself with a razor. They go out to a guy, they'll be like, hey, Ken, I need a favor. When you were at the FBI, did you witness Dan Bongino shaving? No, not really. Are you sure? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, good. Did he ever cut himself? Well, I'm not really sure I saw. You just said you did.
Did he cut him? Yes, he cut him. So that's how they pitch it the other way. So in the media business, I was working with a writer one time on a project. He said they call these people quote machines, where you go to the whistleblower as with the story. He then pitches as his own because he's your quote machine. So a perfect example of this, I'll show you exactly what I mean. You got receipts. Receipts, kids, receipts. You don't have receipts, don't bother, right? You know the show's all about receipts, right? Here's this New York Times piece. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They had a story, Rick, keep this up for a second, Guy. They had this story.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
You can live a very long time without getting old.
How this Miami lipidologist prevents hypertension.
Watch what salt does to your body.
The FBI has been totally politicized. They go to a bunch of quote machine leakers and losers who totally screwed the FBI up, which is going to take a long time to fix, by the way. It's not going to happen overnight, I promise. Even over the past year, we made a lot of progress. But they go to them and say, hey, we're going to write this story about the FBI being politicized, being less safe. Here's a couple of quotes. Okay, that sounds good to me. That's exactly what I would say. America less safe. Gee, you have that Epic Times thing? What the f are you talking about? Are you basing that on where? Espionage arrests? They're up. China-related espionage arrests? Those are up dramatically. What about agent application? Oh, those are up. What about the murder rate? Oh, that's down. 764 arrests? Surely we got them there. No, those are up too. What about terror plots? We haven't had an organized terror group conduct a successful attack, an organized terror group from overseas. What are you talking about? 640 people arrested. What are you talking about? You're supposed to be journalists, right? Back it up. Just back it up. You said America's less safe. Back it up. This is how they work. So that's step one. Find some disgruntled dipshit, give him a quote, feed the quote machine in, and they go back and go, oh, yeah, America's less safe, man. What are you basing it on? I don't know. You told me to say it. Dipshits. Here's step two. This one, I promise when you see this one, you'll never unsee it. Here's step two. This one, I promise when you see this one, you'll never unsee it. Articles, you'll never miss it now. Let's say there's a conservative podcaster they hate, and you can go through the list of them. Even Republican, conservative, libertarian, whatever. If it's not a non-Democrat podcaster is the best way to say it, right? As long as you're not on their team, you're the enemy, right? What they'll do is they'll attack that person relentlessly. Joey Bag of Donuts. They'll be like, conspiracy theorist, Joey Bag of Donuts. But if Joey Bag of Donuts says something against, say, me or Cash or anyone else they need to gore that day, they'll be like, respected conservative journalist. You dipshits just wrote this guy was a conspiracy. Tell me it's not true. It is you will totally say, I could give you 1,000 examples of it right now. All these guys, they'll be like, inside whistleblower. Meanwhile, 6 months ago, you were attacking this guy. It's hilarious to read. You'll see it all the time. Respected podcaster, Joey Bag of Donuts. And then a week later, when they need Joey Bag of Donuts to go down, they'll be like, life loser, zero, conspiracy theorist, kicks dogs. And you'll be like, this is the same guy, bro. See it? You'll never unsee it. So again, step one, feed a quote to some disgruntled swamp rat who doesn't want to lose his retirement package. Second, make sure you use the Ox's gourd effect and turn everybody against one another. They love doing this. There's nothing more they like than conservative, libertarian, Republican infighting. Nothing more. Step three, it then becomes the current thing. You know I hate the current thing. This is a liberal thing. Liberals go along with every single current thing. They never ask any questions. You're like, hey, I think it's a good idea. Someone about like a decade ago was like, I got this idea. I think we should allow men in the women's room. What the hell? Like, who thought of such a freaking stupid idea? But the liberals are like, wait, is this the current thing? And of course, the narrative spreads on X and elsewhere, and Blue Sky, where all the liberals are, and others, and on the Reddit forums. And they're like, what a liberal person, they like that Kank or someone at the Young Turds, right? Kank? Yes, they all support the current. They're like, well, Kank said it or whatever. So it's like they love it.
All they need to do, because they're little lemmings, is hear the current thing, and they're like, yes, this is the current thing. I definitely want to see a penis in a woman's room. This is perfect. Meanwhile, 95% of America is like, that's fucking crazy, man. Like, what are you guys, lunatics? Folks, they're trying to instill this on the right, too. I've warned you about this for a long time. Be really, really careful with this. It's what I call my cannibalism theory, where they, remember the cannibalism theory? If you were a listener to my radio show or podcast, they know, the liberal media folks and people trying to divorce this movement from the inside, right? They understand that there are influencers or whatever you want to call them out there, that the second Donald Trump got into office, their MO is to make money. Not all of them. I'm not bashing everyone, but they're, and you know who they are. They've got to make money. Their livelihood is clickbait. Okay. I have separate investments in my own business. Like I told you, I'm a capitalist. I like the show. I love the show. We don't need the show. We do the show because we want to do the show. But the people on the left, they do the same thing. I told you in the cannibalism theory, they'll eat each other alive for clicks. I never thought, this is where I got to tell you, I was a little bit blindsided. I'm usually pretty good at kind of licking my finger and seeing where the winds are blowing. I missed that. When Donald Trump got elected, I was like, my gosh, so much is happening so fast. Like I thought there was going to be like a champagne popping party. And I'm not talking about the FBI stuff. Forget that. I'm talking about in general. And yet you get doomers and black pillars and others who all they do is shit talk the administration at every single opportunity. It's because they don't have anyone else to eat up but their own right now. And they find clicks in, oh, I would have done it. But you would have done shit, man. You're sitting on your ass in front of your ex account watching like tentacle porn. You wouldn't have done a damn... What? Remember that reporter at that time? You know, we used to use that on the radio a lot. You wouldn't have done shit, man. You're talking a bunch of smack. You wouldn't have done anything. Donald Trump had the balls to do all this stuff. Iran, Venezuela. I'm not even a huge tariff guy, but listen, all the doom and gloom about it didn't turn out to be true. 5% GDP projected, 0 illegal border crossings, a 20% drop in the homicide rate. Oh, I don't like it. You would have done it different. You're full of shit, man. You know what the hell you're talking about. So all I'm telling you is accountability matters. Accountability and transparency are paramount. But don't lie about it. Nothing happened. No, it did happen. You're just full of shit. And you're falling for the current thing. And you're eating up your own side because you got nothing else to do. And just tell people. Just tell people why you're doing it. Just be candid. Because that shit drives me crazy. And by the way, most of the people talking smack, doing this, eating up our own side on this movement, this MAGA movement and elsewhere, never did a damn thing themselves. And by the way, never had any idea what was actually going on. I love how some of them pretend to be big insiders. I got all these deep contacts. And then something happens that the president of the administration does, and they look blindside. Wait, I thought you were an insider. And I thought you just said that wasn't going to happen. The president was going to do X. You said the president will never do X. Then he does X, and then you move on. No one ever mentions it again. It's like, hey, are you ever going to be accountable for bullshitting your audience about the stuff you said isn't happening? All right, I got to take a break, and then I want to get to some. Man, this is a long show. Oof, boy, I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm not even through halfway of it. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I really appreciate your patience. Wow. What do you think is in the cup there? Any guesses in the audience? No, it's not. That's pretty good, Guy. I like how you said that. 180,000, even with a technical hiccup. 180,000! Boy, I know. I love you guys so much. I wasn't talking to you, Guy, but I do love you too. Thank you. All right, folks, quick break. We're now into our second hour for the first time ever. It'll be a 2-hour show, 10 a.m. to noon. So we really appreciate you guys staying. Remember, President Trump coming up in just under 29 minutes at 11:30. So I can't wait for that. Folks, I think our healthcare system reacts instead of prepares. You get sick, you wait for insurance to decide. When you actually need your medications, you can't get it. It's backwards. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. I've used them before. You know them. You love them. I use them now. I keep using them because they get it. They're not your typical pharmacy. Look at the winter storm we just had. Shipments were delayed. People were scrambling. If you ordered when the warnings hit, your medications would already be at home. That's what All Family Pharmacy allows you to do. They believe people should be able to plan ahead. You complete the form online. A licensed doctor reviews it and provides the prescription, and your medication ships straight to your door. To your door. No waiting rooms, no insurance middlemen, and most importantly, no nonsense. They offer antibiotics, antivirals, flu meds, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, mebendazole, NAD+, I'm a huge fan of that, methylene blue, and everyday maintenance medications people rely on. I have stocks of the stuff. You know, I like to be prepared, especially after the last year. It's all about access, about freedom. It's about choosing the right pharmacy. So go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino and use code Bongino10, and you'll save 10% off on your next order. It's not medical advice. Consult a licensed healthcare professional before taking any prescription medication. Thank you, All Family Pharma. We appreciate it. Always be prepared. Our second sponsor, preparewithdan.com. Folks, believe me, if you could see half of what I've seen over the past year, you'd be pretty focused on preparedness too. I love you guys. You're just like family to me. You always have been. You know, I've always been into preparedness, and someone's going to come knocking on your door if they're not prepared. And listen, that's your job. You got to stay prepared. I don't have enough for everyone else. You got to have stuff for your family. There's one company to help you, and it's always been with the Dan Bongino Show, My Patriot Supply. They've been with us since the beginning. If you don't know them, you should. They're a preparedness company, #1 in the world. Preparedness is not optional. If you don't have an emergency food supply, you're already behind the curve, and you're cooked, no pun intended. Thankfully, My Patriot Supply is celebrating the return of the Dan Bongino Show with 100% off their best-selling 3-month emergency food supply. This is the kit I recommend to everyone. I have them. I have lots of them. It's got 2,000 calories per day of real hearty meals that last up to 25 years. It ships fast and free. Every family should have one. I have more than that. Get yours right now at preparewithdan.com. You can see tensions rising. There's no telling what's going to happen next. Be prepared. Bongino Army, love you guys. Be ready. Preparewithdan.com. That's preparewithdan.com. So this is kind of what I was talking about too with the grifter class and the others before. There were people ready from day one to just attack everything the administration and all of Trump's selected people were doing because there's, you know, money in the grift. My friend Brendan Dilley, he's got his own show. It's a great show. He posted a tweet about it early on. This was him. Look at the date, March 10th, 2025. Keep an eye on Sunshine Patriots. You know Dan Bongino starts his job on March 17th, the FBI, and we'll begin attacking him on March 18th if the entire deep state isn't arrested that day. It's not organic. Pay attention. Look at the date on that, March 10th. Man, did he ever call it? Hey, can you turn the AC up? It's like an igloo. Like, I love it in here. I love being cold, but it's like 30 degrees in Florida today. Yeah, but just a couple ticks. There we go, like 67 or something like that. Had it at 65. What happened before? Did you see my Twitter, by the way? I posted my first frozen iguana picture. I've never seen the iguanas dropping out of my trees. I go out the other day, see Lucy sniffing around. I'm surprised she didn't eat the damn thing. There's this green thing on the floor. It was my first frozen iguana I've ever seen. The poor guy was just sitting there. They're not dead. They're in like a Jurassic Park stasis in like the frozen honey thing or whatever it is. But I hope the poor guy made it. Lucy may have eaten him later at night. I'm not really sure. Sorry for you, but they're an invasive species. So, what? What you got there? Are you playing something in my ear there? So what was it like, guys, working for President Trump? I get this question a lot. Matter of fact, it's the question I get the most, and I'm going to talk to him about it coming up in a minute. But I feel an obligation to kind of give you the inside perspective, again, from all the doomers who want you to believe like nothing's happening and all this other stuff. Number one, the guy is the most decisive human being I've ever worked for, and I've worked for a lot of people. Between the NYPD, working in Key Food Supermarket, the Secret Service, being an investor, being a consultant. I've worked for tons of people, some really talented, some not so much. Some good managers, some bad ones. Good sergeants, bad sergeants, whatever it may be. I've never seen a guy this decisive in my life. And when I say decisive, I mean, let's put, meat on the bone. He doesn't get lost in kind of like polling them. He's obsessed with polling. No, he's not obsessed with polling numbers at all. I can prove it to you. The violent crime push into liberal inner cities, where the president was deeply concerned with Cash and I early on about crushing violent crime in liberal cities. One, he's not running again. The president is not running again. He's not going to win the Chicago vote, even if he could run again.
He never once mentioned like, hey man, we got to get good poll numbers. Never once. He just cares about people getting unalived. He doesn't want dead people in Chicago. It's not hard to figure out. So he said to us early on, we had this Operation Viper in Memphis. Cash put it out there. It was amazing. The president's like, how do we do this nationwide? I went to Cash. I said, hey, let's water balloon our assets around. Let's do broken windows policing. Let's implement a CompStat type accountability system, and let's attack violent crime across the country. And the president was like, go get them, boys. Lock them up. Put the silver bracelets on them. And he stayed on top of it every single day. He's also a transformational guy. I mean, oh, Dan, you're kissing his ass. No, I worked for him. You don't know shit like I did, you media goons. You have no idea. He doesn't well, prior presidents may have done this. Great. Well, why'd they do that? Well, they did it for this reason. It wasn't going to go over well with this crowd. No, we're not. We're doing it because it's the right thing. Totally transactional, transformational guy. He sees things as a +1 for the country or a -1. He doesn't get lost in a lot of BS. I never seen anything like it. And I got to tell you, that's, I let them know early on I was going to do the year. I was going to flip the calendar. Was going to go and fix the system there. Going to attack violent crime. We were going to attack the deep state. We're going to take it on. We're going to de-weaponize the FBI, and that's what we did. But I'm not going to spin your wheels, folks. I am going to miss the intensity. So I'll show you a couple things of what it was like in a day inside the office without going into obviously any classified stuff or anything like that. But every day was an adventure. Every day was a level 10 decision. I'm going to get to that next regarding some other matters in the news. Every day was a level 10 decision. There was a shitty choice and a shittier choice. I promise you. There was never, ever an easy decision because someone else already made it. No one knocked on your door. And they used to call me boss, which always kind of freaked me out a little bit. I actually told them the second I left, like, everyone's to call me dad, no more boss. It really did freak me. I'm not being like humble brag. But hey, boss. And they'd come in. And every day was some like, what do we got now? What do we got now? What do we got now? It was always a level 10 decision. So when you're making these level 10 decisions, like every day was like this. So this happened all in the same, 72-hour period. Could have been the same day, but don't quote me. But I remember it all happened at the same time and going down. So we were dealing with this story. You got that SOT queued up, Justin? You guys and ladies may remember this story about a bunch of suspects involved in a terror attack. Here was some quick Fox News coverage. I remember this like it was yesterday, but check this out.
Shannon, good evening. Scary story. Several people are in custody right now in Michigan being charged on this Halloween night, arrested after the FBI thwarted an alleged terrorist attack with an apparent connection to ISIS. The FBI director announcing the arrest early this morning on social media. Now, here's what we know. Suspects were picked up in both Dearborn and Inkster, Michigan. It's unclear who was arrested or how many. Patel in a statement saying the FBI is constantly on watch to keep Americans safe, adding, through swift action and close coordination with our local partners, a potential act of terror was stopped before it could unfold. The vigilance of this FBI prevented what could have been a tragic attack, and thanks to their dedication, Michigan will have a safe and happy Halloween. Now, our affiliate, Shannon, spotted the FBI in a neighborhood in Dearborn outside Detroit. Dearborn police confirm the Bureau was there conducting activity this morning. The local police department adds that there is currently no threat to public safety. Shannon, good evening. Scary.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was intense. And obviously these things go on over the course of days. Like I said, when you're dealing with the Department of Justice and judicial and legal process, it's not like the War Department, which you're making high-end life or death decisions every single day. But they give orders and they're enacted. But we have process. Everybody obviously has constitutional protections and things like that. So that was going on for a while, that whole process. That was going down. And again, this is over the same period. While you're adjusting that, people are coming in, you're getting quick updates on things like that. Hey, here's what we got with the suspects. Here's where we are with judicial process and subpoenas and the like. And you obviously want to make sure that first you interdict and stop any potential terror attack. That's number one. Judicial process and everything else comes second. You got to stop the attack. So you got to make a lot of really tough and hard decisions. Again, what's the shitty decision and what's the shittier decision? There's no easy decision. None. That was going down when obviously Arctic frost broke. We found that. I'll never forget that when I'm not going to say who or what, but You got that headline from CBS there? You know, they run in the office and they're like, hey, look what we found. And we're like, you've got to be kidding me. So we had this policy, Cash and I, find, investigate, take action. So to find things was not easy. This is why I kind of used to get a kick out of, a lot of the popcorn throwers from the first row who acted like when we went in there, everybody laid everything out on a platter. Like, oh, here you guys go. Time to take action against the people who were involved in this. A lot of this stuff was hidden. We had to go find it. And it didn't always happen overnight. But this is going down at the same time. I had to go up to Capitol Hill and I'm briefing these senators on this absolute, internal weaponized debacle. I had to brief them on what was going on as the phone's ringing about this other one as well. And this is why I talk about this. Is why I said I opened up the segment saying I'm going to miss the intensity. I'm going to miss that. That part. There's nothing like that. There is nothing like being in the suck like that, where you're making these level 10 calls and you're doing them quick. If you can't do it, but every day, boom, 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 boom. So that was going on. And I was dealing with also something at home at the time. And that's where I have to really throw this in and thank Paula for dealing with me for the past year, because there was a lot of stuff going on. But there's no excuse for that. I'm going to tell you something. I probably shouldn't say it, but I'll say it anyway. Hold on, it's in my I did that Fox interview early on. I tried to stay off the media. I think I did, I don't know, someone got to go count, maybe 5 interviews in the 10 months I was there for the past year. I tried to stay off the media. I didn't want to make the story about me. It's not. It's about the administration and it's about reforming the FBI. But I was doing Fox and Friends early on. It may have been my first or second hit. I don't remember, but I love the crew over there. And they had asked me about, what the transition was like. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have done anything different. Even this, because you learn from everything. I wouldn't change a thing. I promise you. No regrets, because you learn from every single mistake. But it was a mistake. I shouldn't have answered honestly. I missed home. And I was talking about being in this apartment away from Paula. It was, it wasn't like a cave, but it was a pretty small apartment. And at night, we would talk for hours on the phone, but it was hard. So you'd stare at the wall sometimes. I missed my daughter, my wife, the dog, but I should have answered that. I don't regret it because I learned a lot from it. I love the intensity of the job. I wouldn't have changed anything about it. But sometimes, the taxpayers, I don't want to be crude about it, but they don't care. Do the job. And fair enough. And that was it. That was the last time I ever mentioned that, because just get the freaking job done. You know what I'm saying? Shut your pie hole and do the job. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not above criticism myself, but I promised I wouldn't have changed it because I learned a lot from that. People don't want to hear about it. Jim, it's like they're paying you to get a job done. But I was just asked the question and I thought, I'd be candid about it. But, I'm not going to do it. One more day, and then I want to get to, because I know you guys are, interested in Epstein as well too, which was a big thing. I see a lot of it. Obviously, there's people in the chat who were concerned about it. So I'll get to that, and then I'm going to get to President Trump as well. But I want to cover this. This was one story that I'll remember. I think I discussed this on Haley's show a little bit, but this is what I'm talking about by the intensity I'm really going to miss. I was sleeping in my apartment one night, and you have a security detail in the FBI at the deputy level, and Cash has one too. So I can't hear very well from this earpiece you can probably see in my ear. I've had one in the Secret Service for 12 years too, so I don't really have great hearing. If I'm not listening to you in public, I'm not ignoring you. I probably just don't hear you. Paula has the same problem, so we're always like, what? We are like, what? What'd you say? So I'm sleeping on my one good ear, so I don't hear anything. And I hear this pound. I pound on the table, but I don't want to break my hand. Pounding at my door. Folks, I swear to you, I don't been on the job. I don't know what it was, like a month or so. I think I'm getting kidnapped. I'm like, here it is. ISIS is here for old Dan Bongino. And the first thing I'm thinking, this is how crazy it is. I'm like, how'd they get up the elevator? Because you needed a pass. So they're pounding on the door. So I look out the hole, the peephole thing, and I see it's my security detail. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's up? They'd never woken me up. I'm like sitting there in some sweatpants or something. I don't even know I had a shirt on. Probably not an image you all need in your head, but I was like, what's up? I'm all groggy, sand in my eyes.
And it was a really tragic story. Those two Israeli diplomats were shot, so I had to go to the crime scene. I think it was Judge Janine's first day, and I met Pam there. I think Cash was overseas for that one, so that was just. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you don't have time to be tired. There's no tired. So I went to the Washington field office, and you just got to get it done. No excuses. Just get to work. And that was kind of a welcome to the late night hours. And then we, of course, had Minnesota. We had the school shootings in Minnesota, the politicians who were shot in Minnesota. We had Coeur d'Alene, Palm Springs, the list with the Detroit. The list went on and on and on. I just saw some New York Times article about how in Detroit we were concerned about what to get out of. Yeah, of course. We want to tell the public what's going on. Like, I can't believe that was a surprise. So I know a lot of you are concerned also about Epstein. Let me just say in advance, guys, as I said when I opened up the show, leadership involves frequently being misunderstood and having to make decisions that's going to piss someone off. That's just the way it is. This case had been handled poorly for a long time. And if you go and look at the search warrants, and matter of fact, almost all of it's public now, thanks to President Trump and the team getting it all out there. Look at the search warrants and how they were scoped. The case had issues for a really long time. So it obviously was a mess. And this is one of those level 10 decisions where I told you, you're not going to make everyone happy. There's a shitty answer and a shittier answer. And disagreements in D.C. about how to handle level 10 problems. I love how people in the media acted like this was like new, as if the Biden team had done anything to get this stuff out. They'd done shit. They'd done nothing. Zero.
Of course there was going to be some disagreements on what do you do about grand jury material? What do you do about downloaded child pornography that was downloaded off the internet? He didn't create it, but what do you do about that? What do you do about all this? There was always going to be a disagreement. Of course, the media made this out to be like, remember that weekend? Like an intergalactic story. I'm sitting upstairs. I was home that weekend, and here's another media story. Like, Dan Bongino left town. I had a Morgan Wallen concert that night. It was on my schedule for months, you dipshits. But like, he left town. I didn't wind up going to the concert because the media was making a big deal out of these disagreements. But it was a level 10 problem. It was never going to please everyone. The person I thought at the time who nailed what the issues were with this was our good friend Mike Davis. I'll play the CNN one, the clip next, but throw up Davis's tweet. There were a ton of problems with this. There was grand jury material. There was, he put this out. Anyone who rapes kids deserves the death penalty. Amen. Here's the problem with the Epstein mess. The FBI doesn't have the evidence many thought it did. I want to see the files, folks. I said, don't let it go. I meant it. We got elected. We looked at it. The file was not, what was in there was not what we thought would be in there. There are not tapes with powerful men raping kids. There is not a list. Epstein's Rolodex was already public. The file's largely unreleasable for many reasons, including grand jury material, which they're moving to get a lot of that out. Court records under seal, child pornography that was downloaded from the internet. You can read the rest of it. Protection of victims. We obviously don't want victims' names out there. Here's another one. Keep that up for a second. Double or triple hearsay. You're seeing it now. You're seeing on Twitter, like, this guy said Joey Bag of Donuts, cut this woman with a razor, or this young girl while raping her. And you're like, wow, that's a really horrible story. It's terrible. And then you find out Joey Bag of Donuts was some famous athlete who was playing a game in Phoenix that night. Like, a lot of this stuff was just people called, not all of it. This is an extremely serious case. Let me be crystal clear. But that doesn't mean every single tip that came in, had any kind of veracity to it at all. A lot of the stuff was clearly debunked. He said, does anyone believe Bondi, Patel, or Bongino would cover up for Bill Clinton or Bill Gates? Didn't even make sense. I was all over this case on my show. The Trump DOJ wanted to be fully transparent, but it couldn't at the time for the reasons above. It's not going to satisfy many, and that's fine. But folks, I'm not going to spend the next 2 years talking about it. This administration got you the information. You can all look at it. And a lot of people are using it to divide us from the inside. Those are just the facts. That's just the way it goes. And by the way, the dividing people from the inside thing is not working. A lot of this is bullshit. A lot of it is foreign operations designed to make us divorce ourselves from the inside, current thing, everything. It is a deadly serious case. There is zero doubt about it. Everyone in the administration treated it as such. Everyone from the start. But it was not, it was a level 10 problem. I can prove it to you. No one else had solved it in the past. correct? Those are just the facts. Here was a poll, even by CNN. It was about a month ago or something, so it's not exactly recent, but it just speaks to how, even if this whole thing was unfolded, this will be the end of whatever. Here's a CNN poll about exactly this thing, division in the Republican Party, proving to you that it's not working. People understand that level 10 problems are never going to make everyone happy. Check this out.
Let me be very clear. There is no rift in the Republican Party. Yes, there are some folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie who are quite skeptical of this. They are very much in the minority. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just talk the GOP on the U.S. military ousting Maduro? Ipsos, 65% support, 6% opposed. How about the Washington Post poll? 74% support, just 10% opposed. If you look among 2024 Trump supporters, we're talking about 80% support. The vast, vast majority of Republicans are with Donald Trump on this issue. Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are very much in the minority. Very few Republicans are with him.
You say they're with him on this issue. Do you even need those words, this issue?
No, I don't need the words this issue, because the bottom line is this. Donald Trump has had an iron grip on that Republican base for a long period of time, and it is the same iron grip that he had 6 months ago. I know every so often people are trying to say, oh, I spot these little rifts in the Republican base. Oh, you know, they're finally starting to break. They're starting to break from Donald Trump. It ain't happening, at least when it comes to the approval rating. Look at this. 84% 6 months ago, 85% now. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know 85% and 84% are basically the same number.
Level 10 problems, folks. Shitty answer and the shittier one. That's every single thing at the principal and deputy level. And this president has to deal with them every single day. Every day. He doesn't get to delegate everything. A lot of this stuff, you know, the old buck stops here. The buck stops on that Resolute desk. They are tough decisions. And that's what happened. I know a lot of you are looking. And by the way, to the people in the chat, I just want you to know a little message to you. Some of the supporters, we love you guys, the detractors. You're welcome here too. But I just want you to know something. I own you guys. You can't stay away. I tweet, you instantly respond. I do a show, you can't stay away. Remember, Jim, no one's going to be there, really. It's 194,000 no ones. Biggest live stream in the world right now. No one's going to be there. No one. Really. Then when people show up, that's just us there to review. Great. I own you guys. The greatest superpower in the world is the power to command attention. And I own yours. You can't stay away. But to my supporters and people who love the show, thank you. It's an honor. I say with humility, it's really an honor to call you all friends. But watching the other clowns, keep it up. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, by the way, 10 a.m. See you there. I know you can't stay away. All right, let me move on. I got President Trump coming up in 5 minutes. Last thing, quick, before we get to President Trump, so don't miss it. It'll be on 11:30. We're going to talk about violent crime. We're going to talk about the president's daily brief and all the threats he's dealing with, what it's like working from the inside. 1 second. I just want to cover, can we just cover the tweet? Because I want to, I don't want to, again, beat this one up a lot because I've discussed it on Hannity's show, on Fox and elsewhere. But the tweet, I promised I'd try to squeeze everything in on my first show as much as I can, at least. This one generated this again is one of those things I don't regret, but I did not realize this was going to cause a thermonuclear explosion around the world when I sent it out. I sent out this tweet about being here and how I was basically shaken to the core about what I was reading and looking at. And we can't run a republic like this. What I was talking about, just to be clear, and that's why I don't want to go in this at length, because I've spoken on Hannity about it, on Haley's show, on Vince's show. Vince's show, not Haley's show. And Haley's coming up at noon, by the way. I was reading some Crossfire Hurricane documents in my office on a Friday night. I was the last one there. Not trying to be a hero. Look at me, I stayed late. Not saying that. I was the in-town guy that weekend. Paula wasn't in town, nothing to go home to. So I was sitting there reading through these Crossfire documents I had just gotten. I can't say what it was, but
I could not believe what these scumbags did. I couldn't. I was floored. Even having written, 3 books on it? 4? I don't remember. I couldn't believe it. What they did to this president was, I used the term on Sean Hannity's Fox program, demonic. I mean it. I mean it. Like, whether you believe in the spirit realm or not my business. I'm not your pastor or your faith healer or anything like that. I'm just telling you, you can't see what I saw and not believe that there's pure evil in the world. And I was really shaken by it. And I'm pretty sure it was a Saturday. I woke up still shaken by it. I couldn't believe it. What they had done to this guy to try to dismantle this place. So that's what that was about, because there was a lot of speculation. I put a little subtweet below it, linking to an article. I thought it was clear. But I'll get into kind of more of that as the week goes on. I'm going to discuss it in broader terms as we talk about what's going on now. But I want to get to President Trump on time. So it's our last sponsor of the day and our now 2-hour format. Rumble.com/Bongino. Please go and subscribe today. Click that follow button. If you want to sign up for Rumble Premium, we really appreciate it. Obviously, the show's live. There are ads in the show that I read live, but you don't have to get the programmatic ads. Rumble Premium, please sign up. Start your Rumble wallet. Rumble.com/Bongino. We will be here every day, 10 a.m. Again, sorry about the technical hiccups. I knew these people were going to attack us because they can't stay away. They can't. They're like, he doesn't matter. Let's attack him and keep him off the air. I guess I matter. That's, I know. I see here you're going with that. Thank you, Justin. They're doing it already. Delete Me. Listen, you've heard me talk about Delete Me in the past. I love what these guys do. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, safe, easy to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Trust me, your privacy is worth protecting. Sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. An invaluable service. This isn't just a one-time service. Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want on the internet. As someone with a really active online presence, you know, privacy is unbelievably important to me. We've had a lot of problems and issues, security and elsewhere. This is the primary thing for me, privacy. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Delete Me, now at a special discount for my listeners. Excuse me. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/Bongino and use promo code Bongino at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/Bongino, enter code Bongino at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino. Thank you, Delete Me. We love you guys. Really appreciate you coming back to the show. We'll be seeing a lot of you. Do you believe I nailed that at the time? I'm sorry, guys. As Aunt Jane used to say, you know, what sucks? Self-praise sucks. Self-praise stinks. But I said I would hit it to the second at 11:30 and get to the president. And unbelievably, we are going to hit it in 3, 2, 1. Now, our interview with the President of the United States. What an incredible honor to welcome back to the show for the first time on the new Dan Bongino show, the most transformative president in my lifetime, and frankly, probably any other lifetime either, President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and you too. I was very unhappy when you left the FBI, but I was very happy that you have your show, which does so good. So I'm okay with this. It's net neutral. I call it a net neutral.
Well, Mr. President, I want to thank you for the opportunity. The past year has been absolutely incredible. And given that, you know, you're a results guy, we were friends before, but working for you is a completely different experience. You are a results guy. You're a spreadsheets guy. How would you get to a net present value positive with what you're doing? And I'll never forget an Oval Office meeting we had in light of the D.C. crime numbers today. Hadn't had a homicide in a record amount of time in D.C. thanks to your leadership. We're sitting in the Oval Office, and I was talking to you about the homicide rate plunging, and it was only about 3 months into my term there. I said, Mr. President, what we're doing down in Memphis and elsewhere is working. And I'll never forget, I said, we're doing the broken windows, Rudy Giuliani style policing. You looked at me and you said, hey, how do we take this nationwide? And you never, ever let go. You stayed on top of it with me and Cash. You were all over it. you're such a hands-on guy, and it was just so refreshing to work for someone who doesn't get into all the hype and all the nonsense, but cares about the numbers. It's probably your business background or what it is, but amazing job on that.
Well, we have the best crime numbers we've ever had. We have the lowest number of crimes in 125 years since they recorded. That's in 1900. You're to think of it, 125 years. That's despite a lot of bad people coming in through the border that shouldn't be here, and we're getting them out. You got a lot of them out yourself. We're doing much better than anybody would think, and yet we have our lowest. Think of it. A lot of criminals came into our country. We're getting them out, and we're getting them out fast. We have to fight liberal judges and, fake governors, terrible governors and mayors, guys like, just take a look at Minnesota. Walsey's a disaster. But if you think about it,
I was reading the Washington Post this weekend, and they have a big story on crime in D.C. is way down.
Right.
And the whole purpose of the story is why? We can't figure it out. What happened? Is it the police department? They stepped up their game. What is it? They talked about everything. And then toward the end, they had a little thing that, of course, Trump surged a lot of very tough military into it. And it was that surge that did it, I would say 97.2%. Okay, let's put it that way. But here I'm reading this story about how crime is down. They didn't even want us to do. They didn't even want us to go. And so Washington was a very, very dangerous city. Many murders, many really horrible crimes. They came from all over the place. It was horrible. You couldn't walk down the street. Now you can walk anywhere you want. But the story was, why is it so good? It's so good. They admit now that it's good, but they refuse to give us credit. We're the ones that totally did it. And we worked with the police, but without us, you'd have crime at record highs. You'd have crime that was out of control. And can you imagine? I had to read a story where they're looking for the answer as to why crime over the last 6-7 months, exactly the timing that we got in, but over the last, why that crime is way down. And they barely acknowledge us. They say, and also Trump did a surge of the military, very big, strong people that, Tren de Aragua doesn't like them very much. They'd walk in, they'd beat the crap out of them. And we brought those people, and you know better than anybody, you were there. We brought those people back to Venezuela, back to places where they came. Some were so dangerous that we put them in jail because we couldn't take a chance they could come back. But think of it, with all of that, I read this story, and the headline is something to the effect that crime in D.C. is way down. What's the reason? And everyone knows what the reason is. If it weren't for us, you'd have crime. You'd have stats that were worse than they were under sleepy Joe Biden. So we do a great job. We don't get credit. And the only thing we can do is go on shows like yours. We have a big audience and talk about it because people get it immediately. It's a terrible, terrible thing. The news is so corrupt and so fake. It's unbelievable.
Mr. President, I'm going to correct the record for the hack goon life loser media right now because I was there. I was there with you. I was there with Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
I was there with Tony Salisbury, your entire amazing crew over there with A.G. Bondi and Todd and everyone else. And of course, Cash. And I remember early on, Cash went to you about Operation Viper in Memphis, where at your direction, we surged assets into Memphis. We absolutely destroyed the crime rate there. We were locking up gang members, mutts, dirtbags, all of these people. And I was there. I remember you saying, well, where do we go next? And then where do we go next? And I personally spoke to just about every SAC, special agent in charge of the FBI and the big field offices. And Mr. President, I told him, I said, the boss watches. I said, I'm telling you right now, if there's a news story about a homicide in Kansas City or whatever it is, I said, I promise he's calling or Steve's calling or someone else. What are we doing? So anyone saying otherwise, that this wasn't at your direction, it was some like accidental statistical blip, is completely full of crap. I was there. I saw it. And that's a hill I'll absolutely die on.
So with Memphis, if you remember, we got calls. I got calls from everybody. The mayor wanted us. The governor wanted us. So much easier when they want you. You don't have to fight them like in Minnesota. But in Memphis, crime is down 75% after about 2.5 months. We're going to have it down to practically nothing. It was really dangerous, one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Then I got a call about New Orleans, and I got it from the governor of the state. Landry is a great governor. He said, we need help. We got a crime-ridden mess. People are getting killed every day. I sent our guys there. Crime is down 80% in 2.5 months, 80%. And he called me yesterday. He said, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I said, it's not amazing. Now, in Chicago, as you know, we put people there, and we brought it down, but we only have a really limited force because they fight us so hard that you can't really do the right thing. You just sort of do it easy. And yet we've taken crime down 25%. We have an incompetent governor. He eats too much. We have an incompetent governor. We have a mayor who's really a low IQ person. They don't want it. I'll tell you what, if I were a Democrat governor and I was in charge of Chicago, as an example, or mayor, I would be begging Donald Trump to come on. Maybe I'll take credit for what he does, like they do. Because every time we do something, they take credit. We win all the time. We have a case in San Francisco. They have a very liberal mayor, and he wants to do what we do. But I explained to him, and he's a nice guy. And I have a lot of friends, Silicon Valley stuff. I have a lot of friends up there, and they really want to give him a chance. He's a good guy. He begged me not to do it. I said, look, this was 6 months ago. I said, look, give it a shot. But you can't do what we do because we take criminals out, bring them back to their country. You can't do that. You have to get rid. In Washington, we took over 2,000 people out and moved them back. And the other thing, 2% of the people create 90% of the crime. Think of that. So when you start moving these guys out, you have a huge impact on crime. You've got sick people. These are 2%. Think of that stat. So you don't have to arrest the entire population.
Right.
2% of the people create. And it makes sense, right? They create crimes every day over and over. Then you put them in jail. They come out. They do 5 crimes in one day. These are sick people, and they're bad people. And they'll never be good, by the way, for the liberals that want to bring them into a wonderful person of society. They go, we can bring them back into society. No, because eventually they'll kill you. Eventually they will kill you. But 2% of the people create 90% of the crime. And we take those 2, and we go after those 2%. Now, Minnesota, if they allowed us to do the job, it's a mess. There's something in the water up there, and I love the state. I won the state 3 times, but I got no credit for it. I won that state 3 times, but it's a rigged state, really rigged badly with the Somalians and the theft. And I guess you studied it, but I hear it's over $19 billion, okay? Can you imagine? They have a country where they have no money, they have no nothing, and they come over here and they steal. They're able to steal more than $19 billion, and we're right on their ass.
Yeah, that was one of the first cases when I got in.
These are people that don't work. Yeah, Dan, these are people that don't work. These are people that are just not an asset to our society, to put it mildly. And we got to get them out, most of them, and it's most of them.
I want to tell the audience
92% don't work.
Yeah.
And they have an unbelievable system, corrupt system of welfare. Many of them drive Mercedes-Benzes. They had nothing when they came over. The good news is, you notice they don't see ships being stolen anymore from Somalia? Because we hit those guys with the same weapon that we take out the drug dealers from the ocean. We stop. Every time we hit a boat, we knocked out. We saved 25,000 lives. Each boat, and pretty accurate, each boat is responsible for the death of 25,000 Americans. Think of that, okay? And we knock them out like candy. We are knocking them out. We also do that with the pirates in Somalia. That's why you don't see ships being taken anymore, because they don't play games. So, they were stealing ships every day. Now it takes courage to steal ships. They don't do it. You understand. And you did a great job while at the FBI, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Well, it was under your leadership, and working with Cash was amazing. He was just an incredible leader over there.
There was another thing I want the media to hear about, and the audience as well, that you did. I was there. I saw it. No one's going to BS me about it. You had a totally different approach to getting illegals out of the country. We use Title VIII a lot. Title VIII is an easy way to get people here illegally out of the country. You say, well, what's unique about that? Your approach with Steve Miller and A.G. Bondi and Todd was totally different. It was like, if we lock up, say we went out and did a violent crime roundup with the FBI and our DHS and DEA partners, marshals, all you great folks out there, and we gave you 10 minutes to cooperate. I mean, being a bit hyperbolic, but you get the point. And your approach was, listen, either give us something valuable about someone up the criminal food chain, or get the hell out. We're not going to store you in our jails for 10 years, waste $100,000 a year on food and shelter and interviews and AUSAs, United States attorneys debriefing you. Either produce valuable information or get the hell out. When I first told the guys that at the FBI, they were a little shocked. Well, we can debrief them over and over. No, get them the hell out. And this was a revolutionary approach, and the results speak for themselves, the lowest crime rates in modern U.S. history.
Well, we want one thing in Minnesota. We can get out of there really fast. We want their prisoners. They've got jails with murderers, drug lords, rapists. They've got jails with the worst people. And they come out, Tren de Aragua. They come out, the worst gangs. We have the worst gangs. They have gangs that are so bad they look at you and they knife you up. We had it in Washington. They're all gone, by the way. They're all gone. But all we want is they have a lot of prisoners. They call it sanctuary city, and sanctuary cities are a disaster. So I put out an order, anybody that does a sanctuary city not getting any money. Let's see what happens. They'll get wiped out by these liberal courts. But the people understand. Nobody could do the job that we've done. Nobody. There's nobody. They wouldn't, they'd just go through a system.
Right.
You have to be very tough. Look, I took over a border where 25 million people came into our country, many of them murderers, 11,888 murderers, drug dealers, drug addicts all over the place. They always said they're drug addicts. They're people with trouble, alcoholics. They took over the mental institutions of their country, and they sent every single person in a mental institution over our border with Texas with their open border policies. So we have millions of people. Most of them are bad, to be honest with you, because they're not going to send their good people. They want their good people like we. We don't want to have our good people leave. They only send their bad people. And the best of their people are people that don't work. Those are the best ones. The people that came in, they don't work. And they don't want them either because they don't want to pay welfare.
So they've sent all of their people, millions and millions of people. We have to get them out. And by the way, if Republicans don't get them out, you will never win another election as a Republican. If you don't get these people are all pitted, so they vote. And they make all this crap with the voting. Oh, well, you can vote. You can do whatever you want. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how you can get these people to vote. And if we don't get them out, Republicans will never win another election. Think of it. I won in a landslide. I won every swing state. I won the popular vote by millions. I won everything. I won a thing called counties. The counties I won, it's such a big vote. That's why the map was entirely red when you looked at it. It had two little purple lines and two blue lines on each side, but it was all red. And counties I won by 2,750. Think of this, to 550. 2,750 to 550. It's becoming a very good count because it's accurate. It covers the whole country. It's like a landslide. But you're never going to have that again if you don't get these people out. These people were brought to our country to vote, and they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get with a court order the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out. But, like the 2020 election, I won that election by so much. Everybody does it. They put a woman in jail, Colorado, put a woman in jail, a wonderful woman, 72 years old, had cancer, because she was a voting inspector. She was in charge of a voting area, and she saw boxes of votes come in. So she went over to check it, and they put her in jail for voter manipulation, and she's still in jail. And they better let her out fast. And they're suffering a big price, Colorado. They have this woman in jail who's 71 years old and probably has cancer. She's sick. And they put her in because she challenged somebody that was dumping ballots into a box, okay? And they didn't put them in jail. This was during Biden's term. The worst president in history. And we had some bad ones. I mean, look, Barack Hussein Obama, I call him the Great Divider. Right. People couldn't stand him. You mentioned his name, they go crazy. They start booing the hell out of him. We had some really bad ones. I mean, Jimmy Carter wasn't exactly the greatest. Jimmy Carter didn't exactly have the hit on Venezuela that I had. Remember, his hits, they always turned out to be a disaster.
Right.
He went out, he had a hit. The helicopters were crashing into each other, the hostages and everything. That's why Ronald Reagan won the election. It was so pathetic. But we do it right. We've got the greatest military. I built the military. You know that in my first term. I built the military, even though they gave a piece of it away, but it's a lot, but it's still a piece compared to what I built. We have the most powerful military. And my attack on Iran with, Operation Midnight Hammer, where we wiped out their nuclear threat, which they would have had a nuclear weapon within a month, and we knocked it out. And our attack on Venezuela was, unbelievable. And the nice thing about Venezuela, we're getting along great now with the government. We talk to them every single day. We took 50 million barrels of oil. It's on its way right now to Houston to be refined. And we're going to help them a lot, and we're going to benefit by it also. It's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing place. It was a great country 15 years ago. Then it went socialist, and I would say it didn't do too well.
No. Mr. President, I know you're busy, but last question, but you just kind of segued nicely into it. The Don Rowe doctrine, as they call it, your posture with we have to dominate this hemisphere. I've had, again, the honor of working for you for the last year, and I get to read the PDB, the President's Daily Brief. Now, I'm not the president, you are, but principals and deputies get you get all the really, really, really good stuff, but we get most of the good stuff. And I can tell you, without obviously giving up anything classified or secret, that there are a lot of threats from space, from the ocean, from traditional air, ballistic missile threats to the grid. You see this every day. The media doesn't. I find it kind of tragic that the media, a bunch of 18-year-old journalists who barely got out of J school, who don't know a damn thing about anything, who've never read this at all, are busy criticizing you about this hemispheric dominance policy you showed in Venezuela. We're not going to let this happen. That was my last day at work, by the way.
And Argentina and Honduras and many other places.
Look at some of the results you've had. Even in Panama yesterday, there was a ruling against China and the ports. This is working, and this threat picture is so bad. You are absolutely spot on. It is not the 1960s anymore. We have to control this hemisphere from a national security perspective.
Well, that's right. And here's the main thing. We were laughed at a year and a half ago. We were laughed at as being stupid people. We were laughed at it not as not. We see a guy falling up the stairs going into an airplane. I got to be very careful going in. You ever notice how slowly I went? Nice and slow. I'm not looking to set any records. You don't want to go down. Could happen. Could happen. But it can't happen 3 times in one shot. Okay, the 3 times going up the stairs. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that, but it could happen. So I have to be a little bit open. I'd have to say could happen. But you ever watch me? I come down nice and slow. I'm not looking to set any records, okay? That was the one thing I have to tell you. It's probably the only thing I respected, and yet it didn't look elegant at all. He bopped down the stair.
Right.
He would be in the middle. I thought it looked so terrible. This is the president of the United States. He's bopping down, bop, 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 bop. And I kept waiting for him to fall, and he didn't. Yep. So I would rather have other traits than that. And I didn't even like the look of it. But I was impressed with his ability to go down the stairs like that. I wouldn't want to do it. Those stairs are very slippery.
Yeah.
And I always used to say, he's an accident waiting to happen. And to the best of my knowledge, it didn't happen. So I give him credit. But it happened many folds with Biden. Oh, yeah. What a president. We're respected. The bottom line, Dan, we are respected again like never before. And they saw what happened in Iran with, when we took out that nuclear with those beautiful B-2 bombers. We just ordered 25 more of them. Even the newer, upgraded version, you're going to see these things. They're invisible. But we just stopped that. And what we did with it, and don't forget, I got Soleimani, I got al-Baghdadi in my first term, 2 of the worst ever. The biggest and the worst. One was the founder of ISIS. He was rebuilding it. I took him out. And the other one was the father of the roadside bomb and the leader of, let me tell you, if he lived, he was the leader, the military leader of Iran. If he lived, that attack that we made on Iran would not have been the same thing. He was a great general, and they don't have that now.
Yeah.
So we did a great job. We're respected all over the world. I spoke with China. He goes, very impressive, very impressive. I spoke to Putin. He goes, wow, that was something. And that's what we want. We have to be respected.
Mr. President, again, it was a tremendous honor. I cannot thank you enough to be able to do the job I did under your leadership. The way you just let us cook, Mr. President. You said, "Go get them, boys." You told me in cash, "Go get them, lock these guys up."
Get them.
And
get them.
I tell everyone in the media that. I said, if you work for him and you're in the room with him, he demands results. There's none of this friendly. You want a friend? Get a freaking dog. Produce results or get the hell out of there. And I really appreciate the opportunity to do what we did. What an honor. And thank you so much for joining us on our first show. It was great to see you at the wedding yesterday for the great Dan Scavino, by the way. Hilarious speech. You're the best MC. Every time you get the mic, everybody was cracking up. That was great. So really good job.
We had a little fun. That was an easy one. But listen, you did great in the FBI.
Thank you.
And I'm very torn, as I said. I think maybe I'd rather have you where you are, because there's, very few people can do what you do. Very few people can do what you do. And your voice is a very important one. So I'm very happy with that also. So thank you for your service. Thank you for a great job. And I'll be around when you need me.
Thank you, sir. Great to talk to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dan. Bye.
There you go, folks. The 47th and 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I can't say it enough. What an honor to have worked for such a transformative figure. Whew. Man, I'm getting a little choked up after that interview. I'm the worst. I'm like such really man card. Someone sent me that. Remember that man card they sent us, Ski? That was like an actual man. There you go, Lorna. No idea what it was like to work for this guy. I didn't. I knew him as a friend. I did not know what he was like as a boss. Amazing. And all that bullshit you see in the media, you throw it right in the freaking garbage. And by the way, all the attacks you had, all my, bullshit detractors, or whatever, you don't know shit about anything, throwing popcorn from the front row. It's the #1 live stream in the world, like the globe, like the round thing, the rock we live on. By a long shot, 226,000 people showed up. That's with a DDoS attack, by the way. A DDoS attack that was really well organized to try to shut us down. We were down. I'm not embarrassed to tell you, because I'm such a target, that they came after the whole damn website, and someone just sent me some information from Rumble. The quote, they've never seen anything like it. That's how bad they want to keep me off the air. But I have my first, guys, you ready for this? Get ready for the screenshot. Jim, you know where I'm going with this? My first double barrel to those who tried to stop us, because the Podfather's back. And we're taking the movement back. It's not my movement, but I helped build it. I've been here a long time, since the Tea Party days, as a candidate and elsewhere. I'm not going to let a bunch of shitheads and doomers and everyone else sit here and collapse this movement like cannibals and eat it from the inside. No chance. Zero. And now you can see it. I'm sure the media people write a story. A guy in the comments said Dan sucks. Yeah, he was one of 226,000 people in the comments. You may want to put that in there. Just a thought. I know you've already written your stories, but we always win. Always. Because we don't bullshit people. I said I was going to address everything. I did. You like the answer? Great. You don't? It's not going to be 10 years of over-explaining stuff. It's the biggest weakness. People have this need to be understood and peer into their souls and everything. I don't. Measure me on the decisions I made. And we're good. 226,000 on Rumble. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Again, a big thanks to the staff. Yeah, we got producer Jim, Teresa, she's not the staff, she's my wife, but she also does do a lot of work. Paula managing the whole thing, the Queen Bee. Jasmine, Guy, Justin, Josh, who's new to the team. I didn't mention Josh before. I'm really sorry. We love you, Josh. It's good to have you here. Josh is new to the team. You're going to be hearing a lot about him. I warned him, did I not, Josh, in the job interview? If you're not comfortable being part of the show, do not sign on the dotted line, bro. Because as Jim saw in the beginning when his phone went off, everything's fair game for this show. You're in the thing, your phone goes off, that's part of the show. Jim knows. So Josh, and Josh was like, I'm game. Yes, he is game. Justin, show everybody your shirt too. This was great for the first day. Justin wanted to represent, and I think this is the perfect shirt. There we go, buddy. Amen, brother. The Freedom shirt for those of you listening on audio podcasts on Apple, iHeart, SoundCloud, Spotify. Freedom shirt. God bless him. Charlie was the bridge. I began the show with it, and yeah. Man, I love that picture. Look at that hair, man. For a guy who has terrible hair like me, so much so I got to shave it. Thank you for everything you did. I also want to thank today my tremendous audience again. You guys are just incredible. You've been with me through thick and thin, and thank you for understanding that these things take time. Folks, what Cash is working on over there right now, just let him cook, man. After this 4 years are done, if you don't like it, fine. That's okay. That's what accountability and transparency are. Air your grievances. Make it a Festivus show. Let's get the poll out, feats of strength, and let's air our grievances. But it takes time. It took decades to destroy the place. It's not going to be rebuilt overnight. It's an uncomfortable answer, but it's the true one. I lived it. I'm not asking you to trust anyone. Just let him work. The president knows exactly what he's doing. He picked these people for a reason. But I also want to thank my two daughters, the lovely Isabel, my oldest, who's watching right now. She sent me a text, watching with a big heart. Love you, girl. You're the best. War Eagle. And then to my youngest daughter, Amelia. She is just so special. When, I don't know if you guys believe in God or not. I'm not here as your preacher, but I certainly do. I'm a sinner like everyone else. I'm not trying to be some kind of moral compass for anyone. I just want to be clear. But, when I watch my daughter at a volleyball game hit a wicked serve, Amelia, and she looks over me with that daddy approval. Any girl dads out there, you know what I'm talking about? And you give her the head nod. That's God right there. That kind of love. Nothing like that. So I love you both. And I also want to thank a few folks. I only got a couple minutes left. Haley Show coming up at noon, new time, rumble.com/Haley. The great Vince Colonnese, who we love, 8 a.m. now, rumble.com/Vince. Please support these two amazing patriots. They're part of our show lineup. We love them. But before I go, I just want to thank a couple more people too. And I promise over the course of the next week or 2 weeks, they're all going to come to mind. I'm not leaving anybody out. But I want to thank, Sean Hannity and Mark Levin for having my back the whole time. Amazing hosts. They've been in this business, since I'm, 20 years old or less. They've always had my back. I can't thank you guys enough. The great Sean Farish, who we love. He started as the Trump impersonator guy, but has become an amazing host. He's filled in for Vince. He's always had our back. Brendan Dilley, just a rock, lives local to me too. Just knows all about the Doomers. I want to thank Clay and Buck too. They were competitors of mine on the radio. I'm going to tell you, man, we were going through a lot of drama that we couldn't talk about. We knew we were going to be misunderstood. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. He was a really somber voice, and I appreciate that. And all the other folks out there, radio hosts who were competitors with Joe Pags and other, Graham Allen, legend, rated our show. Love Graham Allen, 9 o'clock on Rumble. Just amazing guys who just let us cook, man, and knew who we were and what we were doing. I just really thank you guys. It's easy to take pot shots from the cheap seats, but understanding and not falling for the current thing, I won't forget that. I really appreciate it. Folks, we will be back here tomorrow. You believe we're going to end exactly on time of noon. Stay tuned for Haley. We're going to rate our show, rumble.com/Haley. We will be back here tomorrow and every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time to noon, rumble.com/Bongino. Rumble.com/Bongino. Go there today. Follow, subscribe. It's free for you. Sign up for Rumble Premium if you want. See you tomorrow.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Carania,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
Right here on the Bongino Report channel.
live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Noon weekdays. And if you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
Right
here
here
and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.